Right, so this is the components we're going to use to make the rig above, which is just a simple blowback rig. Simple as it gets. That's all you need. Let's get tying. Right, so we're going to take the hook link material and we are going to strip off by the lovely little measuring device here. I work in mil, but most of you people work in centimetres. So it's 12 centimetres of the coating. Melanie, if you'd be so kind to keep hold of the coating.
This?
Yeah, this. And then to tie a simple little loop knot in the end. Now, sometimes I find this quite fiddly because the coating can make it stiff. But I normally get me little needle. Again. Form a little loop like that. I bring the needle inside and then pull the loop through. Now I like the loop fairly big, because what that will do then is that will help you. The knot, if you've got a bigger bait on there, the knot will stay inside of the hook bait. So if you're fishing a snowman, it will stay inside with the bigger bait to stop it sliding up and down the hair. Trim that little bit off there. Right, and then what I do, so from that coating, I put off 200 and 50 mil, which is 25 centimetres. So there's your length for hook length, and then we, oh sorry, jog that then. Then we pick up the micro ring swivel, and we slide that down. And then what we want to do is tie a knot in that hair, which again we want it the same length as the other one. This is for slightly smaller baits here. So that is going to be about 3 centimetres. The micro ring swivel from the end of the hair. 30 mil, 3 centimetres. And then you tie another knot in there. Problem is, when you get to my age, your eyesight goes a bit, and your fingers as well. So there we go. So that'll mean by putting a double knot in it, your ring swivel is not going to slide up and down. Again, I don't know how well this is going to come out on the vlog. And what you can do, you can just twist that ring there, and then we take the hook and we feed the hook through the eye like that, and then we pass that back through like so. And I like that the ring sat at the bottom of that shank there, so just where it starts to taper around again. And then you'll notice on the hooks where it's formed, you've always got like the gap, the opening. So I don't like to go around that, I like to come over that, so basically the braid hasn't got any way of catching. I do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we go one back over and down, and then pull that through. Just making sure that that hair is exiting around the shank of the hook. And pull that down tight. And then we slide the shrink tubing on, which is around 1 centimetre. And then I like that just to literally cover the turns of the braid going down the hook. So obviously I'll take this indoors in a minute and shrink this, you know, steam it over a kettle. And then again, we need to get the anti-tangle sleeve. Feed that on. Feed that right down for a minute out the way. And then we measure on our quarter box 200 mil, 20 centimetres. And that is where we're going to form a loop like that. Again, figure 8 loop knot, and I twist that over again. And then using the baiting needle, you go back inside again, pull that loop, moisten it down, and pull that. You take that tag end as well, we pull that down nice and tight. And what I like to do, forgot my lighter, so you will need a lighter. Children, if you're too young, then get your parents to do it. And trim that off. So I mean, we've got about sort of like 5 centimetres of excess there, which is not too bad. And then obviously keeping the rest of the braid away. And I like to just put a little blob there like that. And then we pull the anti-tangle sleeve over. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a blowback rig. All that needs doing now is that needs steaming. And we're good to go. So I'm going to make up another one of these exactly the same, then take them both in and steam them. And then we will finish with an end product same as that.
Do you need these?
Right, so as you can see, that is a rig already tied up with a bottom bait and a little yellow topper. So what I'll do now, I'll show you how I get the hook baits into this little arrangement. So we've got a bottom bait, and then we've got a topper. We've got my fat fingers, little hair stops, scissors, bait and needle, rig. Right, so what I do very carefully is to cut about 1/4 of the bottom bait. I'm not cutting matey's table here either, so if you are watching, Jack, don't worry, and I will wash your knife up. So we get a little slither left over like that. Put that to one side. And then what we want to do is literally cut the pop up in half, and then we can use the other half for the other one. Oh, little fleck in there, and that will sit just like that. Absolutely spot on. So obviously we need to go through, let's think about this, Lee, through the pop up first, because that's the one that's going to be on the top. Make sure they're lined up all the way through, out the bottom, grab the hair rig, slide the latch over, slide the hook bait. And this is where I said it's important, if you've got that knot there, that knot will either sit just below the bottom bait or it will sit inside of it, which will stop it moving then. So then we literally just bring the hair through like that, make sure that's open, get the hair stop. Oh, my fingers and eyes really aren't that good anymore. I used to be having to do this for Lee Sherry all the time. So we got the hair stops there, and then what we do, we just pull that down just so it clamps it. I always find it easier if you leave these on, you'll get like a length of these of probably about 6 to 10. If you leave them on there, then all you've got to do after is just snip them off like that. And then obviously it's easier to feed in than a single one. So there you have it. That is as simple as that. And then what I normally do is I put either a PVA mesh of mixed pellet on the hook, or I'll just put a bit of foam around there, and then it stops, you know, the risk of this getting tangled when we're putting it out. But because we're using the boat anyway, and because obviously there's going to be pellet in the boat, I should just put a bit of PVA foam on that. And then that, I know people don't like the palm test, but that, you know, that is, yeah, as you can see, that is turning and holding. And then when this is in the fish's mouth, the blowback part of it gives the hook bait an opportunity to move around and hopefully, potentially, not risk the hook coming out. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring all 3 rods in now, and then we're going to get these rigs on all 3, and then hopefully have a decent hook hold. But I've got this one last one to do. I won't bother filming that, but yeah, there's a little insight into the rigs I like to use, and the hook bait arrangement that seems to be working here at the moment.